Welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And as you can see, I'm wearing another t-shirt, which I love, but I just got back recently from Canada, New England cruise, and I had to buy this bright pink.
Gorgeous.
So I stand out, but it's from Bar Harbor.
I love it.
And I discovered a store there that has so many t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. I wanted to buy out a ton, but I already have too many, but I did
You
buy enough.
restrained yourself.
I did. Anyway, before we get started on this week's episode, we wanted to talk about, well, instead of Andrea's tip, I wanted to say, although this episode is not being sponsored by anybody, we wanted to at least acknowledge, because, you know, we talk a lot of times about the things that we discover, excuse me, and I discovered this soup from Costco that is absolutely the most amazing lentil soup I've ever had. Matter of fact, most of the time, I wouldn't even order soup in a restaurant if it was lentil, the soup of the day.
Right.
Excuse me, because it was never my favorite. And one day when I was in Costco and I put this Yuka app on, it came up 100%.
Wow.
All organic, all vegetables. And I'm like, I was blown away by how good it is.
Wow.
Blown away. So I brought this can. I wanted to show you because, ladies, you must try this. And for a very quick lunch or a light dinner, having that, and I eat it with like a naan bread or some healthy crackers.
I'm sure it's quite filling with all those
It
lentils
is.
in it.
It really
Yeah.
is. It's almost like this is one
Like a
serving for
stew
me, but it's
almost.
almost like a stew. You're right, with the
Great.
vegetables and stuff. So I brought this can to share it with you, but I'm also giving it to Andrea because she hasn't
thank
tried
you.
it.
Thank you. And it's
So-
made by Sprague
Yeah.
Foods. Organic lentil soup with vegetables. I cannot wait to try it. And it's a Canadian product.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow. But I bought it at Costco, and I never really noticed it in a grocery store, but then I haven't looked for it. But you buy it in a package of 8 cans, and
Wow.
oh my God.
And it's vegan friendly, made in Canada. It's certified. I don't know what that means. Gluten free.
You got to try it, ladies.
Yes. And there's no PBA in the lining of the can. So
See, that's important.
Really good. Yes.
Yeah.
All around fantastic.
You know,
find,
yeah,
Linda.
because the thing is, even with that, I think, because I never really enjoyed a lot of canned soups, that's for sure. I love
Yeah.
soups, but
Me too.
homemade. And
Homemade, exactly.
boy, oh boy, that is like, why even bother making it homemade when you're
Right.
talking, you know, I'll say something as healthy as that and tasty. Wow. But 100%.
And 100%.
Yes,
Good.
I love that.
I'm going to try it and I'll let you know.
Okay. So this week, we're going to be talking about
Intuition. Trusting your intuition.
trusting your intuition. Don't you find sometimes that you have this gut feeling, but you don't always listen?
Yes.
And I don't know if I've mentioned this in a previous episode before, but when I was a teenager, I was going to a school dance with a friend of mine. And as we were walking down the sidewalk, you know, you're a teenager, girls, interested in the boys. The boys stopped, seeing 2 girls walking down the sidewalk, enticed us not to go to the school dance and instead to go hang out with them. And, you know, something told me not to do it, but I ignored it.
Oh boy.
And literally came this close to being raped. Yeah.
Oh.
You know, like it was one of those things, and I really think that God does save me from myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why did I do that?
Because we were young and you just...
And the
you know
guys
what?
were cute.
We're trusting.
Yes.
That's what I find. I find I'm too trusting. And I think everybody's like me or like you. Like we wouldn't do things like that.
Well, we came from a small town.
Yes, we did.
And so you want to believe and trust that people are good.
Yeah.
Even young hormonal men,
Right.
which they're not really men, they're boys.
Mm-hmm.
But they put us in a situation where, like I said, we were able to get out.
Lucky.
Very lucky. And I'm like, don't want to ever do that again.
No.
You know, over the years as I become an adult, I've started to trust my instincts a lot,
A lot
more.
more. Exactly.
And that's even, sometimes when you're traveling, whether it's by car, plane, train, whatever it happens to be, you don't always know what you're saving yourself from,
Exactly.
but you do have to listen to that instinct, and it can get you into trouble if you don't.
If you don't. And I remember Oprah saying years and years ago on one of her shows, that little voice in your head, listen to it, because most of the time it's telling you the right thing to do. And I've had that happen in my life so many times, like something telling me to do something. Like, to me, I always say it's God. It's God directing me in the right direction. And if you listen, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then something might happen, or you'll live with a regret.
But the thing is, it doesn't have to be always negative intuition. It could be something positive.
Sure.
Like telling you, apply for that promotion, even though you don't think or believe that you have the skills and the qualifications to get the job. You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know what they're looking for.
Exactly. You don't know what they're looking for.
When we were in Florida, we were at a friend's house, and she had found herself, when she was younger, we were talking about stories, and she always makes me laugh. And she was telling me about how when her husband left her with, two little kids, and she had to go out to work, and she had absolutely no experience in the work field, because that was back in, she's like almost 80 now. So that was back quite a while ago. And this job came up. Somebody had told her about it, and she knew she didn't have any qualifications whatsoever for the job. So she went anyways. She went and she applied and she got the interview. And although she didn't get that particular posting, she got another job that they thought that they could train her and qualify her for, that she accepted, and she stayed in until she retired. But the guy said they just liked her personality and they wanted her there.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Because when I hired my my current assistant that I have, she had no skills whatsoever, but something told her she wanted to upgrade from what she was doing, which was in retail. And retail can be very challenging because the hours are long. The
Weekends,
pay,
holidays.
And the pay is not that great for retail. And if you're trying to get something where you can at least have a better life in the sense of more money,
getting promotions,
right,
working towards
something.
So
she decided she was going to apply, even if she didn't have the skills to do it. And something made her come to this posting. Why she was even looking, I don't even know, because, I had posted in some kind of social media thing where you just post jobs. And at that time, it was relatively new to have people come that way. Because, in the old days, it was through a newspaper and different things. You went through a manpower agency or something looking for people. Anyway, they had this, and she was on there looking for something where she could upgrade her skills, knowing she had zero qualifications. But like when you mentioned about this lady having the personality, she had the personality. She had also, I felt, the common sense and the brains to be able to learn and to be trained at something.
And your intuition told you
my
it was going to be a
said,
good fit.
Yes.
I like her.
Funny enough, right? Over 20 years already. And that's the thing. And I had interviewed a number of people.
And look how smart she is, too.
Oh, my God.
She's learned everything.
Yeah, she's like amazing. Really, really amazing. But it's true. Both of our intuitions brought us together.
Yeah.
And
just like my first job, when I first moved to Toronto, and I went for interview after interview, and then I got sick, really sick, because...
Stressed?
Yeah, well, you know what it was? I'd never been in air conditioning before. In Azilda, we didn't have air conditioning. Yeah. And when I came to Toronto, my apartment didn't have air conditioning, but all these interviews I was going to, and it was the hottest July they had forever in 1974. And I was going in and out of buses and buildings with air conditioning. All of a sudden, I just got bronchitis like you wouldn't believe. And I'll never forget it. I was in bed so sick, and the agency called me and said, she says, I have a good feeling about this one, and I'm like this. And she said, what do you think, Andrea? I said, and then I said, you really think this is, and she says, yes, and so I said, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go. And so, like I said, sweating, sick, coughing. And then I take the bus and it said Dixie and Dundas. So I get off, but it wasn't on the corner. It was way up, halfway up the street.
Oh my God.
So then I keep walking. I get to the top of the driveway. The driveway's like half a mile long. I had to walk all the way down to go to the office building. Well, you can imagine what I look like, right? But anyway, so I got in, I did the interview. By the time I got home, the phone was ringing, I got the job. So I was so happy, but her intuition, my boss who I had my entire life, said she had such a good feeling about me, even coughing my brains out, that that the fact that came as sick as I was, her intuition told her that I was the one for the job, and I was. Her and I stayed together until we both retired, type of thing. And it was a friendship that we had. She was like almost like my mother figure.
Wow.
So yeah, if your intuition is good, it can lead you in great places.
Well, when my ex-husband, he was a train engineer, but when he started off as a brakeman, and you had to apply, they put you through some tests and all that, but they had to go through that if they wanted to become an engineer. And so he went through all the testing and he flunked. But his boss knew. He had the intuition that said, no, he would make a good engineer.
Wow.
And they said, forget about the testing. I want him on this course.
Wow.
So they sent him off to Winnipeg, Manitoba, because it was Gimli, Manitoba. They sent him off to Manitoba to get trained. Do you know that he graduated from that training course first in his class?
Wow.
The testing showed no indication that he had it, but his boss knew. There was something about the way he worked as a brakeman that his boss said, no,
he'll be good at
He'll be good as an engineer.
Wow.
And he did his whole career like it was an impeccable, clean record of like no incidents.
Worth ethics.
And what was really interesting, even all of, I'll say, the colleagues that I've met over the years that worked with him all said he's one of the best engineers they ever had. Yeah,
see?
He was really good,
So,
but
yeah,
he really didn't have the confidence.
No.
But the boss's intuition convinced him to say, listen, I want you on that.
Wow. And a lot of people have great intuition. Like I know even my middle daughter, she is, it's amazing how she picks up. And I think that's what it is too, being observant, paying attention to the way they think, the way they talk, and the way they look. And yeah, you can't judge a book by a cover.
Yeah.
But when they start talking, their eyes, you learn the ways of certain people, and your intuition tells you, they're not being upfront, or they're an honest person. I think I could do better. Like even my husband's business, so many times, he would have people want to do deals or build a house, but he could just tell by the way they were that this was not going to be a good fit, and it was just going to be trouble.
Yeah.
So he would either say, I can't do it right now, I'm too busy, or whatever. And you really have to trust that gut feeling that you're either stepping into a good situation or a bad situation.
Well, and you know what's interesting, because I was talking to my sister recently, and we were talking about the fact that some people will buy investment properties so that they can rent it out and have that, I'll say, as a passive income coming in, in retirement or whatever. But because somebody necessarily is really good on paper, sometimes you have to trust your gut of whether or not that would be a good fit.
Right.
Because recently she was telling me about this couple that, and the couple, it was another real estate agent. My sister's a real estate agent, and this other real estate agent was saying that they had this investment property, but they had a person living in there. And when they first bought it a number of years ago, they made it really easy in the sense of the rent because I guess they didn't have too big of a mortgage. And they had, back then when it wasn't that expensive to heat and hydro kind of thing, they included it.
Oh.
And now the rent is still low. The hydro or the heater, whatever the electrical bills are like, running around $400 a month. They're making almost no money on the property at all. They want to sell it, but they can't get the person out. And
Ooh.
even with that, you see, they may have had a gut feeling one way or the other between that person and another person. And for some reason, they might have thought this one looks good on paper, that they will be a good tenant. Can't get them out.
Oh boy.
And it's interesting because there's a number of cases where, especially in real estate with investment properties, people have that gut feeling, but they're thinking, no, everything looks good. So
you want to believe it.
You do want to
You
believe
wanna
that they're going to
believe
be
it.
good.
Yeah.
And in Ontario, at least, it's very difficult to get people out. And what you thought would be a good investment all of a sudden is turning against you and costing you thousands and thousands of dollars.
Boy.
And that's what your gut can tell you.
Yeah.
So whether, you're applying for a job, you're interviewing for somebody to come into your rental property, whatever it is, trust your gut
Yes.
and do your research, especially if your gut is saying something's
not right here.
Something's not right.
Yeah. And the same with your health.
Yes.
When you feel a little
Yes.
this or a little that, a lot of us like to ignore it.
Yes.
And,
it's nothing.
Your sister,
Yeah.
my family member, they had signs.
They had signs and they ignored
and they
it.
ignored it. But you have to trust that something, and you know what? We're all the same. We don't want to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
We don't want to find bad news. We don't want to go for all these tests. And that's what they do. They send you here, they send you there, and that. But in order to stay healthy and strong, especially as you're aging, you need to trust your intuition. And if you feel something's not right, probably something's not
And
right.
you know what? Especially with that, Andrea, that even though the doctor said it's nothing, that's normal. Because when my sister initially had breast cancer when she was in her 30s, the doctor said it's nothing. She had a little lump. The doctor said it's nothing. A lot of women have that. And it was our mom that said, listen, if that lump is not supposed to be there, get it out. Well, when she got it out is when they found out it was cancerous.
Wow.
And, she was like in her 30s, 2 young children.
Yeah.
And she's ending up with breast cancer,
I know.
having to go through the chemo and losing her hair and all that. But if she had listened to the doctor, she'd be dead.
She'd be dead. Yeah.
And sometimes you
And
have
to your
to
mother's
use
intuition.
my mother's intuition that said, no, get it out. Because if it had, been taken out and it was benign, okay, fine.
Right. No.
You know what? But no harm.
Nothing. No harm. Yeah.
But my mom kept saying to her, Cindy, get it out.
Yeah.
And she goes, the doctor said it was nothing.
I know.
My mom
because
said,
that's what you want to believe.
it's
that it
what
was
you want to
nothing.
believe.
Yes.
But they don't always know, and they're not God.
That's
And
right.
sometimes you have to trust yourself or your mom or somebody that's saying, no, take it a step further. Make sure it's nothing.
Right.
And why not get that checked out?
Right.
To make sure it's nothing.
And
Then at
that's-
least you get peace of mind.
I know, and like I always say, like especially to my family members, we're in Canada. You don't have to worry about having insurance or whatever. We have OHIP. Like, go. What's the big deal? You could be saving your life by just going and making sure. So and like Linda said, even if sometimes they might say, "Oh, it's nothing." But sometimes your gut tells you, no, there's something here, And I remember when my second daughter was born at 2 months old, and, she had a fever. And when I called the doctor, they put her on antibiotic at 2 months old. But, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like when Stacy was sick when she was a baby. Something was telling me. And I called of course it was a weekend, so when I called the doctor's office, I got whoever was on call, and he starts saying, "Oh, is this your first baby?" And antibiotics take time. I said, "No, there's something more here." And oh, you're just overreacting, but nothing was changing. So my gut told me get to the hospital, and I phoned and said, I'm taking my daughter to the hospital. And he's like, well, not on my recommendation. I said, don't worry about it, right? But my gut told me, and sure enough, we got there. She had meningitis.
Wow.
At 2.5 months old.
Wow.
If I had waited, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah.
That was, I think, like Saturday evening, and then was like the middle of the night that we went, because we had to wait for the morning.
You do have that intuition.
You have a gut feeling that
Yes.
something's not the same as other times, and
Yeah.
you don't want to believe something bad's happening, but you need to clear it up. You have to decide one way or the other, is your intuition telling you that, everything's okay or it's not okay? And usually you have that sick feeling when everything's not okay.
That's true. I mean, that for the intuition, a lot of times, oh my God, I don't even understand how your body can do that to you.
Yeah.
But man, listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Oh my goodness, it'll save you from yourself, and not necessarily that you'll know. So don't say,
Right.
oh, well, nothing ever happened. No, that's the problem. You did
don't
listen and nothing happened.
You didn't go.
That's right. Or whatever it is.
Yeah, or you didn't do something. And if you had, it might have been a different outcome.
That's right. That's right. So we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Success in Women. And Andrea and I come week after week. We do this for you. We don't get paid. We don't have sponsors yet. We do hope that at some point we do, because we want to keep giving you this material to help you in your life and your success.
Right.
So if you did,
please like,
share,
and please subscribe. And when we talk about sharing, I know a lot of people watch the episode and they're not really sharing a lot. But maybe, I always say, the information that we're giving you, maybe it's not helpful for you today, but it could be for a friend that is just sitting at home, and this pops up and it changes their day, makes them happy.
Well, it's good that you said that, Andrea, because it's kind of like when I get my daily thing from Joel.
Right.
Some days it's just so applicable.
It is.
That I'm thinking, does he kind of spying on me or something? Because the message feels like it's directed just to me.
Exactly. And I do that with a lot of the stuff on Facebook and Instagram that I see that strike a chord with me, or I think, oh, I know so-and-so's. I share everything because I know somebody is waiting for that message.
Yep. It's true. It's true. So until next week, I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And don't forget, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Have a great week, ladies.